I'm recording. Screw it. So what were you saying? I hope some people made some good money this week, Pete?
Yeah, man. The markets are looking bullish for now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we're in we've bottomed out or anything yet, but I mean, when there's money to be made, people should be making it, man. Like, this is alt season. I sent it to a group chat that I'm in, where most people are investing into altcoins, to be honest, in this group chat. And I'm like, guys, this is alt season. Like, make the most of it, because it's not going to be around much longer.
Yeah.
We'll go back down. Like, a lot of alts that I'm in, like Strat being one of them, it's up like over 100% in a week. Ethereum's been beasting, like absolutely beasting. Ripple, Strat, like a lot of these alts are performing better than Bitcoin right now. So this is alt season 2018. It might only last a couple of weeks, but you know, take some profits out. You know, because if Bitcoin comes back down, which most probably will go back down to like the 3K level, the alts are coming back down with it, like, and even harder.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think Ripple was up like 14%. I think it went back up to like 41, 42 cents. And then when we did that show last week, guys, I think Ripple was hovering around like 29 or 30 cents at the time. So
it just shows like the retail guys, they're getting excited, right? Bitcoin's on a run. They're putting their money into altcoins, and they're all pumping right now. The tables can turn very quickly.
Yeah, for sure. I think dominance is down 3%. Bitcoin dominance is like at 50% right now. But yeah, we were talking, and I said, let's just hit the record button. So we were talking about Facebook, not to talk too much about Facebook stablecoin. What's that really going to do, right? So, but we're talking about like how we try to run ads, and apparently Facebook is still banned crypto ads. So what happened with you guys with MailChimp? What happened?
Yeah, so we got a couple of people that we send out a weekly email to, just let them know what's going on in the space. And then once we were starting to collect more and more emails, all of a sudden MailChimp just put a ban on us. And they're like, you've been banned. And here's the reasons why. And we didn't really meet any of those criteria. And so I reached out to them, but I still haven't heard anything back. But MailChimp basically said, we can't continue to do it. I think it has something to do with crypto. Like, I kind of understand where they're coming from. They're probably just like looking at the words, you know what I mean? It's just a bot probably just looking at words, and like you see cryptocurrency and stuff like that. And they probably think we're shilling an ICO or something, trying to scam people. But
still, they should look into it, right?
Yeah, they should look into it. I mean, it was 2.5 weeks ago that I reached out, and now like I still haven't heard anything back, and I can't reach out to them again. They only let you like appeal once, and they're supposed to give you a response back, but we still haven't heard anything.
Got it. Well, for anyone who's watching this video now, make sure you guys hit the like button on all our channels and leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts. We're having a discussion. Merry Christmas Eve, by the way. Yeah, doesn't feel like it. Honestly, I just want the holiday season to be over. But yeah, no, I kind of had the same issue with my what is it, autoresponder. We didn't get banned or anything, but we get like, so I'll put in there, this is not investment advice, so don't do your own research, blah, 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 right? The disclaimers. And it'll tell me like, it'll flag the message saying, you sure you want to send this because you have these keywords in there, like investment advice, it'll show. So
what are you using?
Honestly, bro, I don't know. I didn't sign up for it. My partner did. He set it all up. I got to look again. It's like Active Campaign, I think it is. But I think we're moving everything over to Kajabi. I'm not sure. But anyhow, with that being said, I don't think the audience gives a shit about our autoresponders. So, so let's, how you guys doing, by the way? We haven't talked for a minute.
Doing well, man. Doing well. Yeah. I have a 12-course Christmas Eve dinner to attend in a couple hours.
Oh yeah,
be fun. Yeah,
that should be a good time. How's everything going, Nabil? You up in
not a lot of sleep? Right? Yeah, Montreal. Not a lot of sleep.
Yeah, well, you're the chart guy, so tell us what's going on. What's up with Bitcoin? Ripple, Ethereum, if you don't mind sharing with us your chart.
No, of course. They're gonna find how to do this.
So, are you on a Mac?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you see a button at the bottom that says share in the Zoom window?
Share. Yeah, I do. Here we go.
Yeah, click share and go ahead and share your screen. And then the floor is yours.
Great. All right, let's take a look at some charts. Oh, I'm just gonna move this here.
How long have you been trading for, Nabil?
Trading, I've been trading for, let's say since 2013, 2014.
Oh, nice.
I started with currencies. I haven't been trading cryptos for that long, about maybe a year and a half now.
Nice.
It's a little immature market.
Yeah.
It doesn't move the same as other markets, understandably so. Like last night, they made an announcement for Ripple that
the Coinbase.
no, Binance is adding some base pairs. Yes. So the fact that the market responded pretty quickly to that, I was surprised because usually it doesn't. As I said, it's kind of an immature market, but that was cool.
Yeah.
So if
they added XRP pairs on Binance, is that what it was?
Yeah, basically now we have two new trading. It's just two new ones, but there were rumors online about it, so now they're kind of following it through with it. So it's pretty cool. I think it's Tron and some other coin that I don't know that is XRP based now, but it shows that they're willing to follow up on what they've suggested. So I get a nice little pump for Ripple. If we take a look at Bitcoin, which kind of leads the market right now, I like to drop this kind of little wedge here.
Yeah. Right
here, and second black line here. And I think this is pretty important. This is the wedge that we have to break out of eventually to maybe shift the market structure. Because right now, I mean, yeah, we had a nice week and new weekly candles open up pretty nicely as well. But I mean, by no means we're turning bullish right now as long as we don't see these confirmations. We're still under these pretty important moving averages. And when we broke 6,000 here, it created a very important now a resistance. There used to be a big support, but so we have this level right here. I like to see the market bottom out like somewhere here maybe. I don't think we're that far from a bottom, but I don't believe this was it. Unless I'm proving wrong, this wedge is going to be broken to the upside. But for now, that's not what I'm thinking is going to happen. We have also this level right here that we kind of bounced off on. This is like around the 3,000. We didn't hit 3,000 really. We hit 3,125. And I'm talking Bitstamp price, which is very important. I look at Bitstamp and Coinbase mostly because they have fiat on them, so it's not USDT.
Right.
And I mean, if we do have one final push to the downside, I look at the level around. If I put a line there, it's around like 1,800. But I understand the 2,000 is going to be a psychological level. So if we do have a little movement that goes bam, well, maybe a little not all that way, but a rejection, we could target one of those two levels. Maybe 2,500 is a level also. I might have drawn it here. 2,500, 1,800, 2,000, which is like a psychological level. What I want to see basically, I want to see a sharp rejection, like a big wick on a daily candle or on a weekly candle. So that shows that there was a lot of buy pressure and that just pushed the market back up. And a lot of money was sitting there on the sideline just telling people, well, this is where we're buying. And I like to think it's institutional money that's coming in from there.
Right. So,
yeah, that's pretty much it for Bitcoin. We can zoom in a little bit to see what happened lately. We had a nice little rally right here, as we can see here. We broke this moving average of the 10 moving average, and then we have, I think, the 50 and 100 right here. Personally, I think we're not done. I think I haven't seen a sharp rejection right here, so I think we could
Right.
So for me, as long as I'm not proven otherwise, I'm going to go with the trend kind of in a way. And for now, like this little short medium term is telling me it's going to push higher. So I'll believe it for now.
Interesting. Well, I know we're going to talk about this in a bit, but CME futures are apparently expiring on the 28th in about 4 days. How do you see that maybe affecting the price here in the charts with Bitcoin?
If we look at what happened previously on expirations, usually, especially when we had these big declines and a little before $6,000, every time you had the futures contract expiring, what happened is the market has a little rally. Why? Because there are more shorts than longs. Well, they were at that point. I haven't looked at the reports recently, but every week, the CBOE and the CME, I think on Fridays, they release the positions of shorts and longs. So you could take a look and see, oh, well, this week there was a lot more shorts than longs.
Right.
So we usually, since we've been in a bear market, and we still are, I would guess that if we take a look at the expirations, we'd have a small little relief rally that we called. So basically all these shorts that kind of like just putting the contracts aside, usually they exit their positions, or they do what we call a rollover. It's basically just extending the contract for another 90 days, 3 months.
Got it. I think it's the 6-month contracts that are expiring on the 20th, and they settle on January 3rd.
Could be. I'm telling this off the top of my head, but haven't traded futures. I'm kind of against them now.
No, I get it. I totally get it. How about like Ripple or Ethereum, if you don't mind? How are they looking?
Sure.
We saw Ripple go up like 14.
Both look good. We're going to start with Ethereum because I do not have an explanation for Ethereum other than just price action.
Yeah.
Someone somewhere wanted a lot of Ethereum and they bought a lot. I mean, if we really zoom out right here, we see that Ethereum, like on this is Binance. I'm gonna get you guys the charts for. Do I have it? Okay, let's do Coinbase right here. So if we really zoom out, I mean, Ethereum it took a hit. It took a huge hit compared to, well, a lot of alts did, but I like to consider Ethereum one of the top, or king alt, basically.
Yep.
Until Ripple kind of took over. But if we look from the all-time high to how much had declined, it's almost 95%, 95%, which is a lot. Now, if you step into an investor's shoes, you believe in the product, you understand how the market dynamics are, you have a 95% decline. That I mean, it happened to Amazon, it happened to a bunch of other markets that I can mention, but 95% is a pretty big.
It's tough pill to swallow, yeah.
Yeah, it is. So, same thing with Ethereum. I like to place kind of this little wedge.
Right.
Again, Bitcoin's going to lead the market. I can't say we're out of it right now, but you see that the wedge is a little more steep than Bitcoin as well.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, I blame this on all the ICOs dying left and right, so people are selling the Ethereum.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, we should probably zoom in here because the movements have been pretty recent. But from this little low that we had, we touched $82 once. It came back to 82 again, but couldn't make a new low. So basically, this is a double bottom. We created a double bottom right here. So once here, once here. And at this point, I mean, once you hear the shorts, it's not very, you don't want to short from this. It's not an attractive short for anyone at this point. We have a little crossover here between the moving averages. And just from here, it went. And from this point, from 107 to this little rally we had, Ethereum had outperformed the market. Bitcoin was up 2-3%, and Ethereum was up like 15%.
Yep.
So it was a big outperformance for Ethereum. It was really cool.
For sure.
We discussed Ripple going, had a crazy little rally last night. If I have to base it on somewhere, it's because of the announcement from Binance, because they came out and said we'll follow up on our promises and those rumors you guys have been reading about. Ethereum, I mean, other than price action, I tried to look on the net, but there's really just price action. We had some growth, and this little explosion right here. Now,
well, I was on Ethereum, so I went out to dinner with my buddy on Saturday night, and I'm not going to say his name, but he's been in this space for about 5 years, I believe, 5-6 years. Made a ton of money in crypto. And he's a developer as well. And they're actually launching their own company here in Silicon Valley. And he was telling me that from the sources he has, I sound like that guy, you know, I got that guy, right? So, but no, he was telling me, so he's the guy like I talk to when I want to just kind of find out like what's going on the dev community, right? So a lot of this stuff doesn't get publicized, but apparently, from what he's hearing is that the sharding development is going really well. And when Ethereum starts rolling out their new, well, they're doing like a hard fork, which is supposed to be a bridge to proof of stake eventually with Ethereum. So apparently Ethereum's dev community is rolling out a lot of upgrades and changes that is really going, that is through their testing right now, that they've gotten some great results. This is what I'm hearing from my guy. So this isn't like any, don't take this as fact, but this is just things that I'm hearing. So maybe that may correlate to why the price jumped up, because people know what's going on, or at least whales do know what's going on with Ethereum and behind the scenes in terms of development. And there's been some breakthroughs with the technology, but this is all assumptions based on what I heard. But keep that in mind. You know, if you hear something in the future, then that could be, that could be why you're seeing a price jump in Ethereum right now.
Yeah, I like to think that the chart is always telling the story. So if you can find the story somewhere, someone knows it. Somewhere knows it, basically.
Right.
So
there's something going on, right?
Yeah.
So there is a story. You just got to find out what it is, or they're just, you know, pumping it for the hell of it, just to get the rest of the market to react. But anyhow, that's what my guy said. All right, so that's with Ethereum. But yeah, no, go for it. What are you seeing with
basically last thing with Ethereum, I like to look at this little level here. I think this is pretty important technically. We see that it bounced off once here, some congestion here, and we have the I think it's the 100. It's the 100. It's the 100 moving average right here. So around 170 to 180, I want to see how the market reacts. Because Pete mentioned earlier it's alt season. Now, if Ethereum does break 170, 180 to the upside, and it keeps leading the market like it did in very short spurts, like a few days, and Bitcoin doesn't fall that much, I mean, it says a lot. For me,
for sure.
It says a lot. So, I'm just going to watch this level. If I have to guess and give a probability, I expect a rejection here around 175, and I'm closing a few positions around that area. I'm happy with my profits. If it goes higher, good. I have some long-term investment in Ethereum that'll grow, so that's fine with me. But you guys want to watch out around this confluence. We have the wedge, we have the little level here, the resistance, and we have the 100 EMA. So it's a bunch of confluence. Just a little under that, we can see some rejection, some failure to test those resistance, and that's about it.
Nice, cool. How about Ripple?
Yeah, we're gonna jump on Ripple right now. Of course. Okay, so we have the little wedge here on the daily already drawn out. All the way here. This part, it was a very short-term Ripple decoupling. Basically, it moved on its own. It wasn't in sync with BTC and the rest of the market, but it did catch up. You see that it was mostly rejected, and now it's hovering around from like 37-ish, came back all the way down to 28, I believe, on the Bitfinex here.
Right.
And I respected the wedge right here. We see a pretty sharp rejection right now. We could probably cancel that wick over there and draw something like this. We could have some upside potential back up to this wedge right here, around 48-ish. We have 50 cents, which is a psychological level also. So failure to test 50 cents is it's a bearish sign. So look out for that. Other than that, I mean, Ripple had been in sync with the market. You see, had some good growth. I know BTC did here too. Was doing pretty well, but you see that the last few candles right here, someone somewhere knew about the Binance announcement and they tweeted it last night, so it gave an extra little push. Now we see some rejection and some consolidation. Watch out to see if we print a flag here and it's hanging around this blue black line right here around 44.5-ish. Mm-hmm. The flag's another result that we could see some consolidation and see if it goes towards higher or not. But the Ripple's been doing good too, man. It has like a good sentiment right now, Ripple, compared to the rest of the market. Ripple's sentiment's a little better than the rest. We saw the decoupling for some part. There's some rumors in the market that Brad Gallinger, Garlinghouse, the CEO from Ripple, is going to come up with some announcement before the end of the year. Could be, could be not. They're pretty good in marketing. They're pretty good in keeping the prices
for sure
at good levels. So
man, those guys are smart, man.
Yeah, they are.
Those guys know what's going on.
Yeah, so
good stuff. All right, well, I guess it's an ongoing story. Let's see what happens. So, but we were talking about CME futures and CBOE. You know, it's crazy, man. It was exactly a year ago last week. It's been a year and exactly 53 weeks since CME futures launched, and that was the peak of Bitcoin, December 17th, 2017. What the hell happened? No, I'm just joking. Obviously, we know what happened, but yeah. So price has been declining ever since. We've been in this bear trend. But doing these TA videos really help because I think you guys have seen it. I mean, we've all been guilty of it at some point where we just buy and sell based on emotion and we react not based on facts and analysis. So a lot of people have lost a lot of money over the past year. We obviously know there's a correlation, but Nabil, I'll ask you, like, how, maybe you can explain to the audience, like, how has the bear trend since December 17th correlated to the CME futures and CBOE futures, which launched like 2 weeks prior to that or a week prior to that?
So what's really important to understand, in my opinion, is that those contracts are cash settled. That's the main point. And I'm like, whoever is listening, I'll give like a 1 minute explanation. Contracts future is basically just a contract for a buy and sell between two parties at a later date. So let's say, for instance, Hameed, I want to buy your iPhone. Right. We're going to sign today that I'm buying your iPhone for $1,000. Right. Okay. And we have to do the exchange in 3 months.
Yeah.
Now, in 3 months, if we do the exchange and I have your iPhone, and I look up, let's say eBay, and it's worth around 800, that's the market price. Yeah. Well, I've lost 200. But if it's worth 1,200, I've made $200 profit. So that's how contracts work. That's going to be basically exchanged at a later date. Now, in 3 months, if I were to tell you, I mean, you know what, that iPhone has sentimental value for me, just look up eBay how much it's worth, and I'll pay you cash. But I'm not going to give you my iPhone. There was never really a demand for the iPhone there. I mean, we basically mimicked the price movement of the market for it, but we never used it. So that's what the future that is cash settled is. So for Bitcoin, you have these contracts that say, well, you have to buy and sell Bitcoin, but whenever they expire, people will just cash settle the worth of Bitcoin. So there's no real pressure on the asset itself, the underlying asset, which is Bitcoin.
Right.
And that for me is basically kind of the little hustle, if you want.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you roll out futures. So basically you have a contract that will move the market, but you don't really trade that underlying asset. There's no real pressure for it. Now, quick parenthesis, we have futures that are coming out, I think end of January, was just pushed back. Bakkt future is physical Bitcoin, and they promote and they market that. What do they mean by that is, even if someone is shorting the market with Bakkt,
I think your face froze, but we can hear you though.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. It's just your face froze.
Oh, I think we lost him.
Yeah, I think we lost you now. Yeah, he probably has to reset, and that's okay though. I can edit this out. So no big deal. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, sorry guys.
No worries. Let me. Do you see the other of you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay, let me remove that real quick.
Sorry about the technical difficulty.
No worries. I can edit this out anyway. No biggie.
Sure.
But for some reason, that one's not getting removed. It's okay. We'll go for it.
Okay.
We'll have your twin in the window. See what we're saying?
Okay, yeah. So basically, what I'm saying, Bakkt, basically, they offer physical Bitcoin. So even if someone is shorting the market with Bakkt future, Bakkt, to offer that short, has to go buy Bitcoin somewhere. It might be OTC, it might be in exchanges, but it puts a real buying pressure on the asset. So, because even when you're shorting, basically you're borrowing from somewhere the underlying asset to offer the short to someone else. That's what the exchange does. So that's why I think Bakkt's going to help the price of Bitcoin go back up. And once again, if we go back to CME and CBOE futures, they're cash settles, so they put no real buying pressure on the underlying asset.
Right.
And second thing is, I mean, you have traders, you have investors. No one's going to come and buy CBOE and CME futures to invest. Only traders are going to come into it.
Right.
Because you don't really own the real asset itself. You have better options if you want to invest in the market.
Yeah.
So traders come in. I mean, any good trader that knows to do with his money, you have Bitcoin that went 20-folds, 20x in 2017. Yeah. So by the end of the year, when they roll out with these futures contracts, no one's buying. People are shorting that.
Right.
I mean, they were looking for an item. Basically, they want to short. They want to have the option to short.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And that tool opened up doors for all shorts. It didn't open new doors for investors, for people that really wanted to buy into the market. So I mean, I remember reading, Bitcoin futures, it's a good thing. I was trading futures back then. I still do once in a while on a few exchanges, but I wasn't going to attract any investors or any buyers.
Right. Right. Yep. What about NASDAQ? Aren't they're offering a futures exchange from what I understand, or they're bringing Bitcoin futures to their exchange in Q1. What do you know about that?
I read about too. I mean, I only looked it up on like Instagram and a few websites, and I asked a few people, but haven't gotten a real reply yet, because my question is always, is cash settled?
Right.
At this point right now, the market has dropped like 80%, 85%. So it won't be the same scenario where people were shorted again, because we had this huge decline, and we might have some future contracts that buy into it. So, and it happened around 6,000 also, I've noticed in the reports from the CME and the CBOE. NASDAQ futures, man, the question is really, is it going to be cash settled or physical Bitcoin? That's the main question. If it's physical Bitcoin, it's good for the market.
Yeah. I think Bakkt is physical Bitcoin, right? Like you mentioned. Yeah.
Next day, basically. So.
Oh, that'll be great. Cool. Yeah. And then the the CBOE VanEck ETF announcement is supposed to be February, I think 27th.
Yeah,
and
it
they
was
can't
pushed
delay
back.
any further. So what are you
I think
guys'
they have
thoughts on that?
one last delay, if I'm not mistaken, to March maybe, but I'm not sure. It has to be looked up.
Maybe it was March.
I don't think we're going to get the ETF.
What's that?
I don't think we're going to get the ETF yet.
You don't think we'll get the ETF?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
It's too risky at the moment, just with all the shit that's gone on in even just like the last couple months in the market. I just can't see the SEC approving an ETF quite yet.
I agree. I don't think so either. Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you. What do you think, Nabil?
I think they might. They might. Maybe it's the hope inside of me somewhere because I'm not in the market. The reason I think they might, first, Bakkt has to be launched because the SEC said that the market lacked liquidity, but they only look at the futures market. They don't look at Bitfinex, Binance, et cetera, et cetera. They don't look at that.
Right.
For the CSC, they only look at the liquidity for the futures market because those are regulated. And Bakkt being introduced would have brought a lot of liquidity. So I'm still expecting Bakkt to be launched by end of February or January, pardon me. So hopefully that helps. How much liquidity it brings, I don't know. But from a report I read, and this is my opinion, so take it with a grain of salt, but VanEck is very, very important. And the CBOE is very important to the SEC. It's having like a business relationship where the CBOE will have a hard time saying no because it kind of puts a kind of a bridge between them.
Yeah.
So from the reports I read from this person that believes they'll be approved is they said if they would have refused it, they would have done it by now, as they did with these other applications, because a lot of them have been denied. But this one has been pushed back so much. They're just trying to get as much liquidity as possible and for a stable market as much as possible, basically, to try to implement it. The fact that they say it's too volatile, I mean, that's bullshit, because there are ETFs with some markets where things move left and right. And look at the stock market right now. You have a bunch of NASDAQ companies that, I mean, there's one that dropped 95%.
Which one?
So,
well, a lot of them dropped, but which one?
I forgot the name. I'll try to send it to you guys a little later. But I mean, Facebook is down 42%, which is one of the least that have dropped. And these other ones, forgot the name. I think it's GoPro. GoPro is in the NASDAQ.
Yeah.
Like 90%, 95%, if I'm not mistaken. I was reading it last night.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I'm actually checking right now. So, interesting. Yeah.
I might be hoping, but I think there is a chance that the ETF is approved. Wait and see approach still, but
yeah.
How do you think it'll affect the market if it is approved?
Pardon me?
Price, I think. The effects for the ETF for the market.
Positive, bullish. I mean, if you look historically, what ETFs have done to other markets and even futures. Look at the biggest comparison is gold. When gold had its gold rush, basically, futures came and it tanked the market, like a big drop. And eventually when ETFs happened, ETFs put a real buying pressure on gold, as we mentioned, Bakkt would. So ETFs will have, I mean, people that offer ETF will have to buy physical Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's going to help the market a lot. And I mean, we don't have to always learn by experience and wait to see what happens with it. Let's learn by history and look at these other markets. And ETFs has helped a lot. I mean, again, gold ETFs were launched and gold went 500%. I think it's going to help the crypto market even more. We live in the age of the internet where everything goes faster. Yep. So if it took 5 years for gold to have that crazy rally, I think Bitcoin will do it even faster.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because it's the first physically backed ETF. And it's the first one that's insuring the Bitcoin. None of the others. That's why they all got rejected. So that's why there's a really good chance it could get passed. I don't know if it will. But this is just me sitting on the sidelines making a guess. So if anything, Nabil, you probably have the best assessment because you're a trader and you've been trading for some time. So you understand these traditional markets and how they work. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, if that happens, man, then my outlook on 2019 is probably going to be forced to change. really quick. Because
Let me ask you guys this: if a Bitcoin ETF is approved, does that mean that it opens the doors for a Ripple or an Ethereum or any one of those other ones, or do you think it stays just being Bitcoin for a long time?
Good question. I think it opens one. It opens one for Ethereum. It's the second option really. Bitcoin is different than Ethereum. Ethereum opens the door to this tokenized industry and economy.
Yeah.
All these other markets, all these other industries. So, I mean, look at Bakkt. Bakkt is launching. No, pardon me. I'll take that back. Look at Fidelity. They are launching a custodian for cryptocurrencies, and for now, there's only two: Bitcoin and Ethereum. So as soon as that is fully launched for their clients, I mean, they'll be custodians for Bitcoin, Ethereum. And they came out and said that they will look at other cryptocurrencies. But for now, according to their market research, those were the top two ones that the client wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Ripple, man, that's I don't see it happening. I'm kind of out of. I don't have an opinion on that, to be honest. I'd have to like wait and see. I think Ethereum would be the second option for an ETF. I'd say, because they're talking about Ethereum futures already. They're talking about Ethereum custodians. Yeah, there are Ripple custodian, other custodians as well. But if you look at these big financial players, their main target is Bitcoin. Obviously, it's the name of the game in crypto right now. Secondly, mostly Ethereum. The talks for Ripple, Litecoin, and the other cryptocurrency have been made by firms that are really blockchain-oriented, crypto-oriented, like Coinbase, et cetera. But these new players that are traditional investors, traditional market giants, they're coming in, they're talking Bitcoin, they're talking Ethereum. The rest, let's wait and see, really.
I think TD Ameritrade as well is going to be offering custodial services to their customers, accredited investors, though.
Oh, I didn't know. That's cool.
Q1 or Q2. So there's a lot of these legacy institutes, not a lot, but there's the notable ones are starting to roll out on ramps for people to buy or get exposure to Bitcoin in 2019. And this is why we say, man, like this, don't listen to all these people that say, oh, it's going to zero. You don't know what the hell they're talking about, dude. Like this thing is going to be around for a long time. It's just, I don't know if we're going to see a 2017 run up anytime soon, but I'm sure you guys would agree, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. But I think this is a multi-decade, possibly going to last 100 years type of run with Bitcoin.
100%. Bitcoin is not going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, I mentioned it in the chat, and I was just reading up on it. The whole like Blockstream basically leasing another satellite up in the air. Just so that people can send Bitcoin and private messages across dish networks, right?
Oh,
so
really?
Wi-Fi or internet connection anymore, because like a friend of mine, his brother lives in Vietnam, and their internet cables run underwater, and some fish get to them, and internet's out a couple of days or whatever. So now what they've done is made it so that it works through the a dish network. So you could be completely offline and still your tech will still understand what's going on the blockchain. So it'll continue to work even though you don't have any internet connection. So when you see, milestones like this being reached, and still not a lot of people are talking about it because everyone's so focused on price.
Yeah.
I mean, the tech is moving, man. They're still building, you know what I mean? And even even in Ethereum, I mean, it's still that people are still building, right? So it's
for sure.
Anytime soon.
Yeah, there's like a ton of Lightning transactions going on right now. As a matter of fact, while we were on this, I think Eric Voorhees or one of these notable guys tweeted Lightning transactions compared. I wish I could share it on my screen. I'm not that tech savvy either. You know how some of these other YouTubers have their iPhone screen on the screen. I don't know how to do all that shit. But one of them tweeted,
just put it up on the camera like that.
I gotta find it. But yeah, he posted like January 2018 Lightning Network transactions. It was like a handful of them compared to December 2018, which is present time. And there's it looked like, tens of thousands of transactions. So
Yeah, man. Lightning Network is actually working pretty well right now, but not a lot of people are talking about that either. I keep seeing like, little headlines and little articles about it.
Right.
We could probably do a video about that at some point.
Yeah.
I think the reason people aren't talking about it, like Mehmet said, it's like people are very focused on the price right now, and we're in a bear market still, and we're on a downward trend. Mm-hmm. And all of this is still going on in the background, but people are just too concerned about the price. Mm-hmm. So when it does finally bottom out, the tables turn around and we're up in an upward trend again. I think a lot of this news is going to start circulating a lot more.
Yeah, I think people are going to start to change their tune, and it's just going to there's just this air of negativity still surrounding Bitcoin, right? People are telling their friends how they got wrecked, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I bought it at 12,000, and now it's at 4,000. So I got wrecked. You know what I mean? People are talking in terms of that right now. But if once it starts to turn around, and I think even if it goes to like 5, 6, I think you're gonna see those people that were like on the sidelines, like waiting to buy it at 6, and then saw it go. They might actually buy it. But again, like just from what Nabil shared, and Pete talks about it, he looks at charts as well. Like it's not done yet. Like the bottom, I don't think is here yet. I think it's gonna come back down. This might be a nice little push for the end of the year, whatever it is. I don't get it. I'm not a chart reader or any of that, but it's just people aren't like completely done with it, right? People that are thinking about buying it are still thinking about buying it. But once that kind of goes away for a little bit, and that might be throughout 2019, I think you're going to see the bottom come. Or if Bakkt comes and then the ETF gets approved, then I think people are going to be like, oh shit, 2 pieces of great news back to back, prices moving up, and then that FOMO is going to kick in.
So last year when this bull run was happening, I had a lot of friends hit me up and say, what should I buy? What should I? I'm like, dude, I'm not an expert. don't take advice from me. Which coins would you? I said, well, I own these coins, right? And I remember my brother hit me up, and we don't have a close relationship. We don't talk. We're very different, right? So he hit me up from New York, and he's like, what should I buy? Like, how do I get Ripple and this and that? Because all his banker friends are saying get Ripple. And I'm like, I'm just going, you got to go on Coinbase, transfer to Binance, blah, blah, blah. He's, oh man, that's too much. And so, and he said, which one do you think Bitcoin's a good investment? It's too expensive. Like, what other coins, right? And I'm like, well, I like Litecoin because I used it before and it's really fast. But realize that the money that you're going to invest, you have to be willing to lose it all, because this is very risky. This is, at the time we're talking. But if I was going to buy one, like, big mistake, I should have not even said that. So guys, don't take anything we say as financial advice. But this is a year ago, so I shouldn't have said that. Even though I tell them, like, hey, do your own research, man. Like, just play with money you're willing to lose, blah, blah, blah. Because I don't want to get blamed for shit later on. Then last week, he's in town and he's like, so what happened to your Bitcoins? And I'm like, the market, dude, what do you expect? I told you. He's, yeah, because of you, I lost all my fucking money. And I'm like, dude, I told you, do your own research and only invest what you're willing to lose. So, so that being said, don't take anything we say as financial advice. But yeah, man, I don't even know how I got into that. You had said something, Mem, that made me bring up that story. But
people got wrecked, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So
angry, and with good reason, man. A lot of people work hard for their money, but a lot of people thought, myself included, when I first got into this thing, I was like, yo, people are making money. I'm jumping in. And I just haven't left because I really just like what Bitcoin might possibly do. And I just want to be on the right side of history and try to, help Bitcoin along as much as I can with whatever.
That was my point. My point is like, there's a lot of people like my brother who just have a really bad taste in their mouth. But that's because they got in because of greed, man. You know what I mean? They saw, and a lot of us did. I mean, who the hell didn't? But And he was like, got in for the technology. He's like, yeah, sure. But so, keep telling yourself that, buddy. But no, I mean, now we're like, yeah, the technology. But you know, when we first started, it was like, yo, 200% gains. What? Here's the credit card, dude. Coinbase account. Let's go. But yeah, no, but there's a lot of people like my brother who they just have a bad taste in their mouth. They're not going to touch it. And there's a lot of people who are just sitting on the sidelines who never got involved and saw a lot of people got wrecked and are like, you know, I don't know if I want that to happen to me. Right. So, but that's just because they just don't understand. Right. So the public is still going through the process of starting to learn about blockchain. It's we're so super early to the game. You know,
we talked about this. We just had a video out with Crypto Brekkie, who's been in the space a long time. He's like a very fun guy, but he's pretty knowledgeable as well. And I asked him the question, like, what do you say to people that say, you know, blockchain will survive, but Bitcoin won't? And he basically said they're idiots because it's kind of simultaneous. Like Bitcoin was the first blockchain created, and it's still one of the, if not, I think it is the best blockchain that there is. Sure, it's slow. Sure, it has its problems. Sure, you know, the mining is mainly in China, but it is definitely the best one out there so far, right? Just because of the way that it's working. It's doing what it's supposed to do. It's working like it's supposed to work. And
well, it's the only proven blockchain.
Yeah, it's trusted and most proven.
Yeah, it's the only one that's been proven to be trustless.
Yeah.
So even if you consolidate the mining, if I keep telling people, read the Bitcoin Standard, man. That book will really, you know, really help you understand like how this all works. But even if the mining is consolidated, from what I understand, they're incentivized to not, for lack of better words, mess it up, if that makes sense. Right. So because you got to spend a lot of resources to mine that Bitcoin, right? So unlock that Bitcoin and mine it essentially. So if let's say miners said, hey, you know, we're gonna get together and spam the shit out of Bitcoin, 51%, first of all, it'd be super duper expensive. They probably don't have enough computing power that's available on the planet to do it. And second of all, if they were able to do it, which is always a possibility, it would cost them billions upon billions upon billions of dollars. Why would anyone in their right mind do that? You get what I'm saying? So, I mean, and I'm not talking about like 5-10 billion. We're talking about possibly hundreds upon hundreds of billions of dollars. Yeah. And this is just guesstimating. I really don't know what the number is. I don't have anything to back up that metric, but I think it's safe to say like it's almost virtually, I wouldn't say impossible, but damn near impossible to break Bitcoin. Yeah. Whereas the other networks, they're not completely trustless yet. Ethereum has rolled back transactions before, you know, so that's never happened on Bitcoin's blockchain, but it's happened on Ethereum's, right? So, but that's not to say that these won't succeed. And that's not to say that every blockchain needs to be decentralized either, right? So, so there's always a risk reward ratio. The risk is you can have scaling and faster transactions, but you'll be more centralized, right? So that's why I'm saying I don't think they'll ever go away, altcoins. I know you hear a lot of Bitcoin maximalists say all the altcoins have to die. I don't see that happening, you know. And when we had this talk, when we first met Nabil last week on our show, and we were talking about Ripple, like I don't ever see it going away, because I think a lot of these altcoins are a way of people expressing themselves and what they want, if that makes sense. Yeah. So sure, let's say Ripple's centralized. Okay, it's centralized. Well, sucks. I mean, we don't live in a utopia perfect world, but if they solve the scaling issue and they can handle remittance within a matter of seconds between banks, then there's a place in the world for Ripple, and they'll probably keep increasing in value. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see $3 to $10 Ripple in the next 3 to 5 years. You know, I think it's very, very possible. Because there's a huge community behind it, and some people's values are more aligned with what Ripple's doing as opposed to what Bitcoin's doing. It is what it is. So people will vote, you know, they'll express through their currency of choice. So the point is that I think these altcoins are going to be around. And, but with that being said, in terms of being immutable, decentralized, Bitcoin, as far as we know, is the only proven one in the market.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that some of these other ones, like proof of stake, is not going to work in the future. It's just not proven there yet. They don't have a product that other companies are being onboarded and using right now. But it could get there. You know, there's a lot of developers working on proof of stake blockchains, as we see in CoinMarketCap. So they could crack the code with proof of stake, and then we'll have multiple options. So that's always a possibility, but you know, we'll see what happens.
Man, it's just, look, when people say now, you know, I'm here for the tech, sometimes, like, I think I'm getting to that point where I'm just like, you know, like, Bitcoin is actually a very impressive piece of technology. I mean, people call it programmable money. I mean, that's really what it is, right? Like, you can program stuff on top of this damn thing, and actually it works. Like, you know, the greatest example we have is probably a negative one, which is Silk Road. You could sell anything and buy anything through that, and you were using Bitcoin and it was working, right? So imagine being able to do that, you know, to sell whatever.
That'd be the worst. That'd be the worst currency to use, though, to be honest. Because you'll have a paper trail for days, bro. You're buying some shit on Silk Road. You got paper trail for days. You have feds at your house, and within a matter of days, you know what I mean? So I don't think
for a while.
Oh no, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Right?
There's multiple marketplaces just like Silk Road. I mean, that's how I got into Bitcoin. Silk Road, these other marketplaces, blew me away. I didn't even know about the dark web. I found out about the dark web before I found about Bitcoin. And that's still going on now. So I guess now most people are using like privacy coins, Monero, and stuff like that for transactions.
Well, all I'm trying to say is you could basically build on top of this thing and use money just like that, instead of like, you know, being taxed on this and taxed on that, and make sure that it goes through this bank. And man, I saw this tweet yesterday, and this guy's like, so I just found out that you know, my ATM cash withdrawal is $1,000. This is my limit. And I called my bank and I told them I want to increase it, and they asked me why. He's like, because, and then he's like, I guess it wasn't enough of a reason that I need it. Right? It's like you have to provide a reason.
Yeah.
To get more of your money every day. Whereas with Bitcoin, it's never going to ask you, man. It's like, you want to take it all out, take it all out.
Exactly. Yeah. No, exactly. You have sovereignty over your own wealth.
Man, I was in the OTC market. I had a ATM company here in Montreal.
Yeah.
Partners, I sold my shares, but I used to go to the bank sometimes because I needed cash.
Right.
It was a corporate account, so I had higher limits. I would go and be like, "Oh yeah, I need 10,000." Like, oh, why that much?
Yeah.
What makes you say it's that much? I need it for. I mean, and they would put me aside in the little room. After 1, 3, 4 times, I'm a super calm, laid back person. But after the 5th time, I just snapped at the woman. I'm like, you see me all the time. You're the one that always brings me to this little. I mean, it's my money. I want to do whatever. And I never told him it was for Bitcoin or anything like that. Yeah. I had to say it's a holding company. I buy and sell digital assets. She's like, what do you mean? It's none of your business.
Right. Yeah. No, it's great. Like, here in America, I mean, dude, if you take out 10 grand, it basically alerts the IRS.
Yeah.
Right. So you're now potentially exposed to being audited, if not this year, sometime in the next 7 years.
Well, here in Canada, if you go to buy a used car and you pay more than $10,000 in cash, they have to report you to the police.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. There's no,
because you spent your own cash.
Right. Exactly. So it's, yeah, dude. So I got in because I saw an opportunity to make money, but I also got in because this was my way of protesting.
Same.
You know what I mean? My way of saying, no, dude, like I should be able to do whatever the fuck I want with my money, spend however much I want, and I should be able to take it wherever the hell I want to any country in the world, and it's none of your goddamn business. And that is why I believe in Bitcoin.
Same.
Because I want privacy and sovereignty over my wealth.
It's my silent protest. It's what the French are doing right now, but I'm just doing it silently.
Honestly, kudos to the French, man. They know what's happening, and
And the funny thing is, they don't show none of it on the TV. They don't want people
No.
here in Canada to see what's going on over there and getting
That's the reason behind it. Like, why they protesting is out of the question. They just film the crazy ones that break into stores, etc., etc.
Right.
I just saw a post where the police take off their uniforms and they're doing the yellow vests right there. I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like,
wow.
It was like a row of those guys, full riot gear, and the yellow vests were like chanting in that, and then those guys basically said, yo, they're screwing us too. Like, those, the police force is also a union.
Wait, is it because of the tax rate? Like, what was the reason?
People are just fed up, I think, with all of
it. Is it just the economic climate's just really bad?
Inflation. They understand inflation. They understand that them and France, they kind of they're being victimized by the ECB, the European Central Bank.
Right.
It wasn't like that before, but it's been 16 years now that the euro exists.
Yeah.
And, well, basically, our money is mismanaged by the European nation, and we're the one paying taxes for that, right? Because their tax has been going up. They have crazy inflation, and France noticed that they weren't the one causing the problem as much as some other countries in Europe, but they're the ones, one of the top ones paying for it, because you have Germany, you have France.
Got it.
That are like the top. Yeah. So they understand their shit, so good for them.
Yeah, I know, good for that. So that means they're a little more financially aware than the rest of the union, which is why they're protesting. Makes total sense. Yeah. Which is why there's no financial education in the education system here in America. Because if there was, people would be protesting.
They don't say what they're protesting about on the news.
Yeah.
And it's kind of it's hidden. It's just all the yellow jackets, whatever.
What do you? Yeah, exactly. What do you think is going to happen to the euro? What's your forecast on the euro in the coming 12 months?
I think it's finished, man. I think it's too late to even try and fix it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I lived in England for 24 years. I remember when the euro first came about, and it was great. Like, we'd go to Amsterdam, and everything was in the euro after it was released, and the exchange rate was amazing. And it's just,
you guys had the pound.
Yeah, because we had the pound in England. And over the years, it's just come down and down and down, and it's like less than the pound now, or around the same as the pound. And then when you just look at what's going on over there with all these countries like that just going bankrupt, and they're just bailing them out with more debt, like, it's not sustainable.
Man, there's a video of just two guys talking, and the amount of money that each of these European countries owe to each other is unbelievable. And none of them have money, but they all owe.
Right. Didn't Germany bail out Greece a few years back?
Yeah.
To a point where the ATMs were empty. People had to line up.
I was in Greece then. I read online saying, "Oh, you won't have." I mean, I had some liquidity on me, but not that much. But you know what's crazy? ATM cards of foreigners would give you money in the ATM, but Greek ATM cards wouldn't.
Yeah, man.
Bro, the government
took
out money from the people's bank accounts.
Yeah,
they took their money because
I remember that.
Like, what? Like,
you know what we call that?
That's theft.
Yeah. Like, that's all that is.
I mean, England are getting the hell out of there. Brexit. They don't want to be held accountable for, like, when these countries start collapsing again, and like, they don't want to keep on paying out for these.
Right.
I honestly see the euro disappearing in the years to come. I think it was an experiment, and it was a bad experiment. That went wrong.
Interesting.
To be honest, I think all fiat money is going to disappear. So if you ask me, what about the euro? I think it's the same as the USD.
It will be the euro first, though.
Yeah. It would be.
It's weaker.
All the countries are going to go back to their native currencies, like the franc and, the lira. It's going to be like, there's going to be like world-class countries over there, like England, Germany, and then there's going to be like lower division countries like Spain, Italy, Greece. I think it's really going to mess up the ecosystem over there, and there's going to be a lot of really poor countries.
Yeah.
Man, you don't look at besides Germany. I'm not looking at any one of these European countries as as the silver star of economic. You know what I mean? Like, they don't do anything that tells me they're doing a great job over there. Even Spain was good for a little bit, but then the whole, Catalonia thing and then the protests and everything else and just started to go down. Italy, their prime minister was getting like blowjobs instead of like what's going on in his economy. So I don't know, man. Greece, we saw what happened with them. Cyprus, Turkey's not in the EU, but geez, what's going on over there is just like crazy. So I don't know, man. I think the euro might be on its way out.
Well, if the euro collapses, which there's a high probability it will, wouldn't that strengthen the dollar in the short term? Because wouldn't more money rush to the US dollar?
Yeah.
So.
Or it could go to Bitcoin, guys. Like, there was never this option before. And people that are fed up with one central bank are just going to say, like, yo, this is a central bank too. And some of these yellow vests, man, they're writing buy Bitcoin on it. Some people are starting to be woke to it, man. That's all.
Yeah.
I think, look, before I got into Bitcoin, I didn't know anything about, Federal Reserve and fiat money. First of all, I never used the term fiat money. But once you're in it for a little bit of time, you're like, hold up a sec. This is all a fucking magic trick. This is all a fucking, illusion, right? And they're just doing a great job of keeping the illusion going. But we saw that illusion almost come to an end in 2008.
Yeah.
Right? That was a big, like.
The ATMs are minutes away from being completely emptied out.
Yeah.
Completely dry, sorry.
Capitalism, like a love story. You can't believe how they went about what they did. The bankers literally stole so much money from the American people.
Yeah.
And it was just, and then like they stole. And then at the end, the American people voted against bailing them out. And within a couple of weeks, they cut a backdoor deal and got $700 billion. Still got bailed out.
Yep. And that's how it works, man. It's a bad business deal. All the risk is on us.
Yeah.
What's crazy, I have a friend that I introduced to Bitcoin. He didn't understand it. He's like, it's not tangible. I'm like, no, it's not. But so what? He's like, well, what is it backed by? I'm like, but a whole system. It's, the system itself makes its value. And he's like, and he works for a bank here. He has some financial knowledge, but like in the matrix, kind of, I like to say.
Sure, yeah.
So he told me, he's like, no, but like, I mean, like, the US dollar is backed by, I'm like, what is it backed by? He's like, well, the government. I'm like, let me put into words what it's really backed by. It's backed, and sorry to all any Americans that listen to this.
No, but go for it, please.
The US dollar is backed by the ignorant compliance of the taxpayers. They'll pay taxes, and they'll keep paying taxes.
Yeah.
But really, the government, they have debts because they mismanage your money by just thinking it's okay, we'll raise taxes, we'll raise impositions.
Exactly.
The debt keeps going on because the governance is so bad.
Right.
Yeah. And people are just, the thing is.
Well said, by the way. Yeah, exactly.
They're just eating it. Like every day we keep eating shit.
Because we're being fed. Look, man, here's what we're being fed every day. Fast food joints down the street, NFL football. I love sports. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? But I don't live and die by my football team, or you get what I'm saying? Like people take this shit like it's their gang. Like they want to.
I'm the same way. Like
they're getting drugged up, bro, by all the reality TV. Sports is cool, but you get what I'm saying? But they're not. No one's talking about. Well, let's talk about how the financial system works and how basically all the risk is on your plate, not the government's plate.
It's not a fun subject.
It's not a fun subject, but it's a slow death.
You have billions of dollars into the industry, in the entertainment industry. Right. So you have more fun subjects to discuss. Like you said, football, you have movies, you have music, you have all these things that kind of keep your brain out. And your critical thinking is like out the door.
Right, exactly.
You want me to talk about how inflation works? That's not fun.
Right.
Let's talk about the NBA. Let's see who scored as many points, and that's my guilty.
What's Kim Kardashian wearing this week? You know what I mean? Like that's what people eat this shit up all day.
Everyone's got their priorities in the wrong places.
That's why kudos to the French, because they actually know what's happening. So
that's
it's funny because here in Canada, like the people in Canada are very docile, and that's purposely being done. But people in Quebec the French people, they actually protest and they do it properly.
Yeah.
And you know what? The government think twice when they start protesting. I mean, the last protest they I think it was because of tuition hikes. They were trying to raise tuition fees.
In Quebec.
Yeah.
Quebec is freaking one to look at. Like, where you live in Montreal, like.
It depends, because from what I've noticed is like, these guys like to they like to protest just to protest.
Oh.
There are some shows about these people they're being interviewed in the streets. I'm not sure how they edit the videos and stuff like that, but I mean, some things that are said are so ridiculous. So I don't know like how much of data that really is. But I mean, one of the biggest protests was for tuitions for school, which I understand like the head of that protest was all right, but some people just wanted to cut class and stuff like that, man.
But what I'm saying is that protest worked, because if I'm not mistaken, the government didn't raise the fees after that.
You're right, but it was only temporary. It was just until they get calmed down and went to something else.
That's the way it works all the time.
Yeah.
They just wait until it blows over and then they do it hush hush under the table.
Yeah. Personally, I mean, this is really an opinion, but I give props to like some European countries, because I think they're very like they know more about their financial system, about what affects them. Like we have France, but we have all these Scandinavian countries. I have family in Germany, so I go often, and they're smart in Germany, man. They know how like the financial system works. And here, I tell people, I talk to them like, you know what? Go to any university in Quebec, Toronto, Canada, any college, whatever, and talk to these finance, economic teacher and tell them what is inflation. I promise you, 90% of the time they'll tell you it's a normal pattern into the economic cycle. It's not normal at all. It's a patch on top of a patch.
Exactly.
And, so.
Interesting.
Yeah, man, it's true. That's exactly what they'll tell you. They'll tell you it's normal.
Yeah.
I thought it was normal.
They really believe it. They don't understand the dynamics and the mechanics behind it. It's just that, well, that happens, and then a peak happens, and then inflation, and then you have a bottom, and then you have recession. I'm like, I mean, I have a bachelor's in finance, and to be really honest, it's worthless. It's what I've learned on my own following that. Well, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. That's not right. It's all bullshit.
Right.
Learn it now. I mean,
yeah. It's
anyways, guys, I gotta run.
Yeah, same here. Good talk, man. Great talk. Merry Christmas to you guys. Enjoy Christmas for you and your families. And
we'll talk about how to raise consciousness with shrooms.
By the way, for the audience, just so you know, we had this conversation offline a few weeks back about we'll talk about it later. All right, guys. For everyone watching our channels,
take care.
Take care,
guys.
Bye. Talk to you guys in a bit. Take care.